Landscape photography is not glamorous. I'm mostly by myself, sometimes traveling a few hundred miles for a day trip, waiting for light that doesn't always appear, and often left with a bunch of shots that can't even make the bottom of my portfolio. Look at me, eating these pre-packaged snacks. So unhealthy. I'll probably grow a tail in a few years. Why am I here? Good question. How do people vlog and talk to the camera out in nature? I can't get myself to do it. Sorry, only tripod selfies and voiceover for this one. There's a pretty spot here. Too lazy to work for a shot right now. Just gotta try to balance on this rock here for another tripod selfie. Log balance now. Ooh, Valley View. Haven't seen you for a while. Ah, there it is. El Capitan. Alex Honnold? Oh wait, I see ropes. Never mind. I'd never try to climb that. Much safer here by the river. Hope a bear doesn't push me in from behind. I'm a sucker for anything backlit. Mom? Dad? Oh wait, too young, too tall. Moving on. God, this place looks like a painting. Oh, hello there. They say a good story always includes conflict. What if I fell off this rock here? Would that be conflict enough for you? Back to that question, why am I here? Well, I didn't fall off any rocks today. I had balance, and that's what brought me here today. The reasons to shoot change all the time, but my reason for shooting today was to regain balance for at least a split second. Mission accomplished.
So most of that footage you just saw from Yosemite was shot on the Fujifilm X-T3. And with the X-T3 and prices dropping below $1,000 for the X-T3, I thought this would be a great time to go over my top 5 reasons on why I think the Fujifilm X-T3 is still one of the best buys for photographers in 2020, photographers looking to just get into the Fuji X-T system. I definitely think it's a better buy than the X-T1 and the X-T2, both cameras that I've personally owned in the past, even though those are less expensive. I've also owned the X Pro one, and it's way better than that in most ways. I've owned the XT30 and would definitely choose the XT3 over that due to the XT30's poor ergonomics and the 4GB section video clips on that camera. It could also be a better deal than the XT4 for most. I also have the XT4 as my other Fuji camera. I also have GAS, which is gear acquisition syndrome, and that's probably for a video later. This is not meant to be a full review versus any of those older cameras, but if you're looking for a more detailed review of the XT3 versus the XT4, check out the link in the description below for a video I made a few months back. I'm also not going to go over all of the tech specs, but you can easily find those in the link below. This camera has been out for barely 2 years now, and I still think it's one of the best buys in the mirrorless camera world, regardless of sensor size. In no particular order, here are my top 5 reasons on why I think the Fujifilm X-T3 is still the best buy in the Fujifilm X-Series lineup in 2020. So the first reason is you get the most up-to-date X-Trans sensor in the Fuji lineup. You get the highest megapixel count in the X-Trans line at 26.1 megapixels and with all the great Fuji colors. Some might argue the older X-Trans sensors offer more character and organic feel versus the previous generation X-Trans sensors, and I would agree to a certain extent, but there's no doubt from my experience that the newest X-Trans sensor outputs the most modern looking, high quality image of all Fuji X-Series sensors. Pair the X-T3 with Fuji's best lenses and Capture One Pro 20, and I can't see how any photographer would be unhappy with the output from this camera, unless they had a very specific need from another camera system, which I definitely understand. The second reason I think the Fujifilm X-T3 is one of the best buys in 2020 for new users, especially, is the Fujifilm film simulations, and you get all of the up-to-date ones minus Eterna bleach bypass. If you're new to the film simulations, I'll leave a link down below to my overview on each of the film simulations in the XT system. Now, Classic Negative still isn't available internally on the X-T3, but if you want it, all you have to do is download the Fuji version of Capture One Pro and use a quick drop-down menu to convert your RAW file. If you're thinking of getting one of the older X-Series cameras, you won't have access to all of the film sims unless you mess with the XF data. And as much as I love the film sims, who really wants to go through all that trouble, especially if you have a large batch of files to process? The third reason I really like the Fujifilm X-T3 even in 2020 is the 3-way tilt screen. I feel like this setup for the screen is the sweet spot for most photographers and even some videographers out there. You get the speed and quickness to tilt up to shoot from the hip, you can tilt down to shoot above the head, and you can shoot vertically in the portrait orientation from lower angles with ease. Not all Fuji models have this 3-way tilt. Some of the older models don't tilt at all. some tilt only up and down like the XT30, and some have the flip screen like the XT4. The flip screen of the XT4 can be nice sometimes, but for my personal use, it does get in the way for my style and is the main reason I'm considering dumping it and going back to the XT3 for most of my work. Reason number 4 is the new firmware update that was just released for the Fujifilm X-T3, and that's version 4.0, which has updated the Fuji X-T3 to be on par as far as autofocus goes with the X-T4. Now, I mainly shoot landscapes in a very slow-paced environment, but it's nice to know that the X-T3 is capable and up to par with the X-T4 when I do need those autofocus features for other types of photography genres. Things like street photography or family snapshots where the autofocus might help out. It's really nice to know that the X-T3 is very capable in that department. Reason number 5 for the X-T3 in 2020 is that it pretty much has all the video capabilities of the X-T4, minus the IBIS, of course, and the 240p, and maybe some of the handling features like the still or movie mode dial. Now, some of those features are more luxury features for video shooters that are a little bit more advanced, but for the majority of people just getting into video or you rarely shoot video, I don't think you'll outgrow the X-T3 for a really long time. And that is a really nice thing to have, having those same video specs in a body that costs a fraction of what the X-T4 costs. Internal 4K 10-bit 420 looks amazing straight out of the box to my untrained eye. And of course, you can pair this with the Atomos Ninja V to get 10-bit 422 and Apple ProRes for better color and a speedier workflow. So that was just a quick top 5 list on my reasons the X-T3 is still a great buy for most photographers looking to get into the Fuji system in 2020. Now, depending on your needs, there are probably a lot more reasons that might be applicable to you, but I think for most hobbyists and enthusiasts just getting into the XT system or the Fuji system overall, I think you'll be very happy, and it's hard for me to imagine that you would be unhappy with the results coming out of the X-T3. Probably the biggest drawback of the X-T3 is going to be the battery life, but there is a solution to that. You can of course carry a bunch of batteries or just carry a power bank with you like the Anker power bank that you see here. And you can connect that via USB-C and power the camera as you're shooting. I'll leave a link below to the one I use. Well, thanks for watching today, everyone. If you found that video helpful, make sure to click subscribe, ring the notification bell, and hit that like button, as it really does help to keep this channel going here. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.